In this Playwright tutorial, I will discuss about the assertions in Playwright Automation testing. So let's understand what are assertions first. So assertions are nothing but where we will compare the actual value and expected value. So actual value you will get it from the web page, and expected value you will specify it as per the test case. And there are two types of assertions. First one is hard assertion and the second one is soft assertion. So hard assertion is nothing but, so whenever test failed, it will stop the execution immediately then and there itself. But in case of soft assertion, so whenever test failed, and it will continue the execution till the end of the test case. Then at the end it will report all the failures. So it depends on your need. You can use the hard assertion or a soft assertion. So we will see the couple of examples for the hard assertion first. Then later I will discuss few examples for the soft assertion as well. So the very first example is, so let's take an example where text box is there. So we want to verify that is that text box is editable or not. So that can be asserted by using the Playwright. So similarly you can check whether element is visible or not, whether particular button is visible or not. That can be validated by the using the Playwright. And also you can check the web page element is enabled or not. And then next one is, we can check, let's say we have a text box and we want to make sure that that text box is empty. So that can also be asserted by using the Playwright. So these are the few examples where you can check the stability of the any web page elements. The next one is, you can compare the URL. So after going to the URL or after clicking on the any buttons or links, and you want to cross check the your URL is correct or not. So that can be validated by using the method called to have URL. And also you can compare the web page title. And next one is, you can compare the texts as well here in the Playwright. So simply you need to specify the element and then you can use the to have text, and inside this you need to specify the expected text or any error messages also. And by using the to have count, you can basically count how many elements are there. Let's take an example where in the web page always 5 buttons should be displayed. So that count of the buttons can be validated by using the to have count. And also you can check the whether element is disabled or not. So like this, there are many types of assertions available in the Playwright. So simply you can go to the my Medium page, medium.com/@testerstock. So here I have showed all the examples, like what are the different types of assertions are there in the Playwright and how it can be used in the automation testing for the more information. So let's see an example for the all these 4 type of assertion. So for assertions we have to use the expect. So before that, let's quickly see the manual test scenario. So here we will go to the youtube.com and we will check this particular search text box is visible or not, enabled or not, editable or not, whether it is empty or not. So we will see all the 4 scenarios first. So I will go back to our VS Code. We will create a quickly one spec file. So here I'll say 09 underscore assertions test.spec.ts. That's it. So here I will go to the one of the spec file and I'll copy all the content from the spec file. Then I will paste it inside the new spec file. So that's it. So let me delete all the unwanted lines. So firstly, let's update the test case title here. So here I'll say assertions in Playwright. So that's it. So let's navigate to the URL first. So let's copy the URL. Now, so let's identify the search text box. So I will inspect this element. Here I will identify the text box by using the placeholder. So I simply will copy the placeholder value and here I'll say await followed by page dot get by placeholder, and I'll pass the placeholder value here, and then I will pass the another parameter as exact true so that it will identify the exact placeholder. And also I am calling to the another method called first. So if there are multiple matches with this locator, so it will perform the actions on the first element. So now we have identified the element, right? Now we have to write the assertion. So here first assertion what we are going to write is visible or not. Then we will check editable or not. And next one is enabled or not. Then whether it is empty or not. So you can consider any web page element, and the way of asserting it will be same in the Playwright automation testing. You can take any type of element or a locator or any web application. So simply you need to surround this locator with the expect. So firstly, let's see whether this element is present or not in the web page by using the expect. So inside the expect, so we have to pass this whole element. Then here we have to call to the method called to be visible. So this method will check the specified element is visible or not. So that's it. It's very simple. Now let's run the test and we will check the results. So this time our test will work fine. So next time, so we will pass the invalid locator, and that time it will get failed. So it is very simple test, and if you see here, our test is perfectly working fine because there is a one element present with the placeholder search. So that means that particular search text box is present in the web page. So that's the reason our test is working perfectly fine. Now here I'll pass Playwright. So this time our test will get failed because in this web application our test will be not finding the required element. And if you see here, so it is saying that received is element not found, right? So this is the expected failure. So that's it. So firstly we have checked whether element is visible or not. In the similar way, let's check the element is editable or not. So here I will take the same line of code. So previously we called to the to be visible. In the similar way, we can call to the method called to be editable. So if field is editable, or if element is editable, then only our test will get pass. So otherwise our test will get fail. So let's run the test. So in our case, a field is editable. So our test will get pass. So there are no failures, right? So our test is perfectly working fine. Now let's see whether element is enabled or not. So similar way how we have done it for the to be visible, to be editable, even we can do it for the to be enabled. We are checking specified element is enabled or not. So let's run the test. So it will work fine. There will be no issues. And if you see here, so our test is getting passed, right? And our fourth one is we will check whether that particular text box is empty or not, right? So in our case that is empty, so it will get pass. So how we call to the to be enabled, to be visible, to be editable, to be enabled. In the similar way we can call to the method called to be empty. So it checks whether text box is empty or not. If it is empty, then only our test will get pass. If it contains some data, our test will get fail. So if you see here, it is loading the page, then it is performing all the validations and our test is getting passed. There are no failures. Now let's see how to assert the to have URL, to have title, to have text and to have count. So here I will go to the VS Code. So far you have seen how to use the to be visible, to be editable, to be enabled, to be empty. Now let's see how to verify URL and a page title and text, and also how to assert the number of elements by using the to have count. So what I will do is, so here I will go back to our web page. So what I will do is, we have already identified this search text box. So here I will enter Playwright by testers talk. So I will search with the Playwright by testers talk. Then, so we will verify this particular URL is present or not after searching with the keywords. So I will copy this URL and here I will say await followed by page dot. So instead of writing this code, so firstly I will get the element, then we will enter the search keywords, then after pressing the enter from the keyboard, so we will write the assert statements. So as of now, simply I will copy this element what we have identified earlier. So here I'll say before await. So this is the search text box what we have identified. So firstly I will click on the element. Then I will type something in the search text box by using the fill method. So here I'll say Playwright by testers talk. That's it. So after entering the search keywords, so I will press the enter from the keyboard. So here I'll say dot press and simply I will pass the enter here. So by using these 3 lines of code, we are searching with the keywords. Now we have to assert the URL, right? So simply you can use await again followed by expect, and inside the expect simply you can pass the page, then dot to have URL, and inside this method we can pass the expected URL. So let's copy and paste the expected URL. So this is a URL what we want to have it after searching with the keywords. So that's it. Our test is ready. So let's run the test now. And if you see here, we are able to search with the keywords, and let's check the test status. And if you see here, our test is perfectly working fine and it is getting passed, right? So we are able to verify the URL. Now let's verify the page title. And if you see here, after searching with the keywords, and if you see the title of this web page, so it is giving the Playwright by tester stock -YouTube. So let's assert the title of this current page. So by using the expect. So here I'll say await followed by again expect, and inside I will say just page, how we have done it for validation of the URL. Here you can say to have title, and inside this you can specify the expected page title. So here I'm adding the YouTube. So this particular expected value I got it from this particular tab name. So that is very easy. So there is not much difficult thing, right? So now firstly we have asserted the URL, it's working fine. Now we are asserting the title of the page, right? So this time also it should get passed, because everything whatever we are passing, the expected value and the actual values are matching so far. So let's run the test, and our test should get pass. So if you see the output of our test, so it is getting passed, right? So this is the expected output. Now let's see how to assert the text. So here I will go back to the browser. So here I'm going to identify the one element. So if you see here, so there is a text displayed. So we will verify this particular text. So I will inspect this element, and if you see here, it has a span tag and followed by the ID attribute. So here I'm using the ID attribute, and I will write a simple CSS selector. So firstly I will specify span, and in the square bracket I am writing the ID equal to title. So if you see here, so it is matching with the 4 element, correct? So let's see the very first matching element. So this is the 4th one, and this is the first element. So we will take the first element and we will check whether first element has this particular text in the web page or not. So simply I will copy this selector first, then we will copy the later this text, and here I'll say await followed by page dot locator. So firstly we will identify the element, then we will surround this with the expect. So here I'll say expect and then I will call to the method called to have text. Now here we can specify the expected text. So before that, so this particular element was matching with 4 elements, correct? Now here I'll say first. Sorry. So here I'll say first because we want to get the first element text and we want to compare with the expected value. So let's copy the expected text here. So I will copy the expected text and I will paste it here. So that's it. It is very simple now. So I will run the test and it should be able to compare the text at the end of the test. And if you see here, it's quickly executing. So let me close the existing session. Now I will run it once again. And let's check the test results here. And our test is getting passed, right? So there are no failures. We are able to locate the first element and we are able to compare the actual text and the expected text by using the have text. Now similarly, so if you have seen previously just now, so this particular element is matching with the four elements, right? So now how do I check how many elements are there in the web page, right? So it can be buttons or any other elements. If there may be situations where you need to compare or you need to check the number of elements in the web page. So that can be done by using the have count. So let's see how to assert the have count. So simply I will take this element and I will remove the first. So this locator is matching with the 4 elements. So I want to make sure that there are 4 elements, matching elements are present in the web page. So that's the reason here I'm calling to the method called to have count. So this will checks how many elements are there in the web page. So in our case there are 4 elements. So that's the reason here I'm passing the 4 elements. If 4 elements are not there, then in that case our test will get failed. So this time our test will get passed because actual value and the expected values are matching. So it is quickly executed. So let me close the existing session so that it will open the fresh browser. And if you see here, so our test is perfectly working fine. And also, so we are able to count the how many elements are there, and also we are able to assert the count of the elements. So similarly, you can use the even to be disabled also. So I am not going to run this test, but you can simply try for the elements where you want to check whether element is disabled or not. You can simply use to be disabled. So this method checks or this method asserts whether element is disabled or not, right? So this is how you can assert the actual value and expected values in the Playwright automation testing.